Hello, I'm Renee.
And I'm Emily.
And we are the Glimmer Hunters,
a podcast exploring all the tiny moments in life that make us feel happy, safe, and connected.
Getting started on today's topic, we are covering letting glimmers land. What's that like? So, because a glimmer by its actual literal definition is just a light flicker, a shimmer. It's very fleeting.
Indeed. Easy to miss for that reason. But what we're doing today is exploring what could happen if we hold on to them for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Should we start by sharing some recent glimmers,
yes,
like in the last 24 hours?
100%.
Do you want to go first?
Yes, I do. I've got two. I'm going to be greedy.
Please tell.
One's, well, you guys can judge for yourselves.
All right, got my.
You have my attention.
You a score out of 10 after.
My first glimmer is octopuses.
I was not expecting that. Did not see that coming.
Spreads attack.
Yeah.
I watched there's a National Geographic 3-part documentary on octopuses. The first one is Octopus as Shapeshifter. Sound like anyone? Octopus as Mastermind. Sound like anyone? Octopus as Social Networker.
I'm seeing a theme.
Hello, lover. And now I know that octopus is my spirit animal. And I love horses. We have a gorgeous dog, but I've never felt so identified as an octopus in my life.
Really?
Yeah. True story.
I need to know more about this, please.
Some questions.
Yeah.
So my glimmer is 100% the octopus. It has no bone. It has a beak bone, but that's it in its whole body. It's, this gelatinous. Beak bone. It has one bone in its body. It's like a bird beak, and that's what it uses to crush crabs. It likes to eat lobster. I made that bit up. It likes to eat crab, but I'm sure there are ones that would like lobster. I like lobster.
And chips.
Oh, chippies. They can change colour to suit their surroundings, to camouflage. Equally, they're colourblind, but they can match their surroundings perfectly. They can also use their body to mimic the shape of the coral as well as the colour to camouflage.
Is this a different documentary to that one that was going around on that?
Different one.
Okay, right.
That was the Octopus is My Friend or something.
Yes.
This is awe-inspiring. And then another thing octopuses do is, so only 0.1% of the animal population use tools. And we're in that 0.1%.
Tools as in?
So they, crows, I think it's crows will use a stone to smash a seed open.
Yeah.
They'll,
clever. Yeah, and you see gorillas or whatever, they'll do that kind of stuff as well, like to open the bananas, or they can probably do that with their hands, but you see them banging things around coconuts, or maybe that's monkeys. Yeah,
monkeys. I think they use a stick to dip into beehives to get honey from. Using a tool.
Yes.
So only 0.1% of the animal population.
Fun fact.
Yeah, use a tool. Octopuses are in that 0.1%.
What do they use?
There is the coconut octopus in Indonesia.
Oh, there is.
And it will grab a crab. And then it's really barren in this part of the ocean. It's volcanic soil. And so once they've crunched open a crab, the other animals can smell, the other sea life can smell it in the water and want to take it off the octopus. So the coconut octopus creeps along, finds, and there's footage of this, there's a cracked open coconut on the bottom of the sea floor, and they put themselves into the coconut and then put the lid on top so they can eat in peace.
Stop it. Is that like you when you go upstairs to eat your toast in peace?
Yes, I am the octopus. Cuckoo, cuckoo.
Yeah. Love it.
So that's my octopus.
I get a little bit of a secondary glimmer.
Yeah. You watch, just even thinking about octopuses, I'm getting tingles. I'm never going to eat one again. Pardon?
Making you weep. It's like, are you wiping them tears? Let's just make
octopus. They're so great.
Do you eat octopus?
Not anymore. It's like eating a human. It's like eating cannibalism. Are you kidding? No, and I've always been on the fence, but
look at them the same.
Yeah, no, it is so good. It is so amazing. And they're playful and they're learning. And this is the thing with the social networker. They volley, and this is what they have taught me.
If ever there was an animal to tap into one of your skill sets.
Which I need to do more of. I'm guilty of overthinking everything from both sides to the point where I'm paralyzed and I can't do anything. There's no action. Whereas octopuses will kind of, and you see them when they're interacting with divers, they're putting, so an octopus will communicate by touching the other octopus or touching someone. It all goes through their senses. And it's about the volley, and then they're learning as a response. Yeah. And they do all of this independently. They're born out of their little egg. Their mum passes away as they are born. Like the mum can sit on them for anywhere, I think, from 6 months to a year. And then they don't eat during that time. So the octopus mummy withers away to nothing.
And
she's got
mother.
Yeah.
Narrative. Wow. Intense.
Big tentacles to fill. And the little octopi are born and they're on their own. And they learn all of this themselves.
Oh, makes me sad.
Yeah. But they don't even have a brain as we know it, physiologically. Okay. They're just this gelatinous structure. So they're part mythical creature. Obviously, they predate dinosaurs.
No. Get out.
Glad you're sitting down. Stay tuned after the break, Ken.
When we turn into a podcast on octopus. Wow, okay.
So that's my
I'm feeling the lot of glimmery energy coming off you right now.
I know it's a glamour. It's a glamour. I've hit a glamour with the octopus. That's my huge one, spine tinglingly good. My other glimmer for much more that was last week's glimmer, realistically, the octopus, but it's ongoing. But my recent one is we're renovating our house. That's not the glimmer.
That's what triggers.
Yeah. But we need to pick carpet, and I was Googling carpet and I saw Carpet Court has a sale. Amazing. And it gives me a glimmer because I'm like, I can save $3. This is going to be amazing to the build.
It's going to make all the difference.
Scrambling everything back. But they had this beautiful natural wool range. And it gave me a glimmer because I was like, I like that carpet and it's on sale.
Tick.
I know.
I like that. That's nice. I have a sort of similar building-related glimmer as well. We're building a house at the moment, getting to the pointy end of things now. And so it's almost like a trigger that became a glimmer in some ways, just to go down that path. But so we had to pick out all our selections a long time ago, well over 12 months ago. And now we're getting close to putting them in, but because so much time has passed, some of them are now out of stock. And so one of them being the flooring that we chose is now not available anymore. So that's, trigger, what are we going to do? But then we came up with a better solution. We're going to use the herringbone floor instead, and it is in stock and it's cheaper as well. So it's
everybody wins.
Happy accident,
Yes.
Yeah, so
meant to be.
Yeah, that was a nice glimmer. The other glimmer I had was this morning. So I was getting ready for today. I was going to get us some coffees on the way before I picked you up from the train station. And I've come to realize that getting ready for me has become very much associated with nervous system dysregulation. I feel like because I run late a lot, that almost my body goes into this stored memory of getting ready becomes really stressful. And I'm like, oh my God. But today I was getting ready and I just I had enough time to do things. I wasn't rushed, which was weird. I was calm getting ready. And then I somehow, I ordered the coffees at the exact time that I did it at 9 o'clock, and then I got down there at 9:10, so they were all ready to go when I got there. And then I came to the train station to pick you up, and I arrived at exactly the time I intended to, which for most people that's probably a normal thing. It's not for me. So that was a glimmer. I was like, oh my God, things, when they just flow and they work out.
Yes.
As it turned out, your train was running late. And I was like, that's fine because I
was driving it.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it was fine because then I was like, maybe we're going to be late for our, podcast recordings today. But then one of our interviews was rescheduled. So then we miraculously had this extra time. I'm like, things are just lining up. And it was just easy and it was just working. And I was like, that's so unusual. Sometimes everything's so hard and it feels tricky. But when it works, it works. And it's such a nice glimmery feeling.
Yeah. And getting ready is, now you say that, I'm the same. I just dread it with everything because I don't know how long anything takes, but I know I can't get out the door until I've done everything I want to.
Right.
Pretend to, need to, but want to.
Yeah.
And so, it's torture. But when you were talking, I got those flashes, at the start of Devil Wears Prada, when the song's playing, suddenly I see, and they're all getting ready and it looks so fun.
Yeah.
And so there's also this misnomer, it should be fun.
Yes.
Yeah, I want it to be like that. And you had the movie
I
morning.
did this morning. Yeah, it was actually I actually put a face mask on this morning and I I did all these things. I was like, had a coffee while I was doing all
Did you
this.
go to bed or just stay awake all night getting ready?
I don't even know what happened. I went to bed late, but I don't know, something just worked out this morning.
That's so cool.
So rare. So I think that's why so much more noticeable. And yeah, definitely a glimmer.
Yeah, huge.
Cool.
Oh, good sesh.
All right. So should we think about, let's share a little glimmer challenge that we set ourselves. So I'll tell you a little bit about it. So the idea was that we sort of identify at least 3 glimmers or 3 things that we know are going to be, I'm going to call it guaranteed glimmers because I know that there's certain things. So my examples include I know that if I go and stand by a sunny window, I can it can be a real way to shift my mood. I think just that warmth coming through, especially when it's getting cooler now, it can really sort of bring me out of a, negative thought loop, just that feeling of warmth. Coffee's, again, one of those sort of universal glimmers that we talk about when that coffee kicks in the morning and hopefulness is restored and anything can happen in the day and it's all very optimistic. Also getting in the shower and feeling the hot water on your back. These are things for me that I know will be guaranteed glimmers. So the idea was, let's kind of think about what those are for us because I think that takes the pressure off having to be searching for them all the time. So if you know what they are, it's not like you have to be on the hunt for them as such all the time. You can just know what they are and just lean into that a little bit. So then the idea was after we have, identified what our guaranteed glimmers or glimmer rituals, whatever we want to call it, are, can we acknowledge those a bit more? The idea being that we let them land in our system. So I remember when we talked to Deb Dana that she said, who coined the term, the American clinician who coined the term glimmer, she said that to let them really absorb and land in her system, she'll sometimes put a hand on her heart, and tell herself that she's found a glimmer. So I was kind of channeling a bit of Deb throughout this process. So, but you can acknowledge them any way you like. But I leaned into Deb's idea and then just to savor them for a little bit longer. That's the idea. And then make a sort of small note, if you can, after even just an audio message to yourself about how you feel in your system if you can savor those glimmers and let them land a little bit longer.
Yeah. I think this is for me a big one because a big topic because the more we have done this, the more I've realized that I struggle to let them land and it's all wrapped up in some kind of I'm not worthy kind of subconscious tape that plays or, or I'm going to relax and enjoy myself and it's going to get taken off me. It's another tape that kind of plays. And so there's that resistance. But part of the reason I like glimmers so much is whether I like it or not, they're coming to me. And even... I don't think this is your bag, but certainly mine. And it's certainly Germany's because they've got a word for it, which is Schadenfreude.
Yeah.
Which is taking a bit of joy in someone else's fall.
Is this what we call revenge glimmers?
Revenge glimmers. Hear me out, because pretty much every Hollywood Disney film is based on a revenge glimmer. Speaking of Devil Wears Prada, when Andrea walks in and she's in that outfit, that Chanel outfit, and she has that moment, mic drop.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that moment.
It's like that whole comeuppance idea,
Suck it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Which is everywhere, like you said, in films and stuff, for sure.
Yeah. So even if you are denying yourself any joy or safety or comfort, it sounds extreme, you will still, a glimmer will still find its way in.
Yeah.
But then in a just spent 3 weeks in America and was in LA, Phoenix, New York, Baltimore, and DC. So that's a lot of ground in 3 weeks. It's zing, zing, zing. Really did a big hot lap of the country.
Yeah.
And, and traveling is stressful. Some of it was on my own. Some of it was with Chris and Isla. And so there are some, dark moments of the soul where you really chat. A few breakdowns.
Yeah.
A few breakdowns.
You don't really know anyone till you've gone traveling with them. It's just a whole other...
Or yourself.
Yeah. Oh, man, it can get intense.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a couple of 4 a.m. phone calls home, I think I should come home.
Yeah.
And anyway, and so, so there were, dark nights of the soul. And then we had this moment, and a part of playing the Glimmer land is sometimes I look like a lunatic. We flew from, I'll try and make this brief because traveling stories are so boring. We were flying from.
Unless they're yours.
Yeah. Sit down, relax,
Exactly.
make a cup of tea, lean in after the octopus. So we flew from DC to LA, meant to be in LA for 2 or 4 hours, and then home. And so, when you packed your suitcase, you've got your traveling makeup on, your traveling clothes on, and you are especially going from that far, it's
travel mindset.
Travel mindset. Yeah. And then we land in LA. They cancel our flight at 2 a.m. So we have to scramble, find a hotel room to be in LA for an extra 24 hours. So we get up.
Not ideal.
No, especially when you're that tired as well.
Yeah.
And so they're exhausted. And then we Google, just top 10 things to see. And I don't want to do Universal Studios or anything that involves any kind of hard work. And we see the Getty. So we jump in an Uber, we go to the Getty, and we get out not really knowing anything about the Getty Museum. And it's not the Getty image family, and it's not the Gettysburg thing. It's the Gettys were, I think, oil merchants or miners. And anyway, they've built this huge museum, and you arrive and it's beautiful. The architecture is gorgeous. It was a sunny day. And then we had, you get in and we had lunch straight away because we were starving, and the food was good and the staff there were lovely. So it was just glimmers all around. Yeah. And then we sat outside, and I couldn't even sit down, and I was I was evangelical. I was outside with almost my hands in the air, beside myself.
Love it. That's that when you're in that I think again Deb was telling us about, with the bum wiggle when you're in that sympathetic state, but you're using it in a positive way, it's not you're using the energy in a positive way. And you're all excited.
Yeah, I was harnessing that energy so much because it was so apparent against, this delay and tide.
The juxtaposition between, what you just were dealing with as to where you ended up. Yeah.
Yeah, the high and the low. And I couldn't, it was, the energy was such, I couldn't even sit down.
Amazing.
It was being harnessed.
Yeah. Love that. And great that you could recognize it and really absorb it a bit more.
Yeah. And it was probably, it's very over the top, but it was a little bit life-changing. Which not all glimmers are, but when, this one this one was such a big deal.
Yeah.
And I could have, it's not that a glimmer is a glimmer can be so overpowering, but it wasn't that it was so overpowering. I couldn't not miss it because I could have shut it down and found fault with something or complained about something. But
especially given everything that had happened in the situations that you were in before. Yeah.
With the lens.
And the negativity bias could have easily taken control of that.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. But instead, everything was so harmonious with the visual. And this goes back to that, people creating things. And it was just so beautifully curated, and the materials and the finishes and the way that it spoke to the sky and the way that it spoke to the trees, this building, and the way it unfolded itself. And it had travertine tiles everywhere, and travertine tiles from, going from the decking up the walls and things. It was so well considered, and it was such a piece of kit. That it would be sinful not to rejoice in it. It was really it was I don't do church, but if I did, that was it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really happy that happened for you and that you could recognize it. And I guess, again, when we talk about glimmers being so specific to your system, and I can see how that would really land with you. Beautiful setting, the art, the whole, the history of it and everything.
I'm going to build a house that's based on probably bigger than the Getty with a better art collection.
Can't wait.
Rembrandt's out my ears. Yeah. It was, because we're renovating at the moment, but we're renovating this 3-story terrace in Paddington.
Yeah.
Which sounds so over the top. It's not, it's a terrace, it's tiny. When I say 3-story, I mean as in we're mining out every square inch of this tiny little block of land. But then the Getty is the opposite. It's that LA, much more sprawling and things. And I said to Chris immediately, I was like, our next house needs to be of this style.
Sorted.
Yeah. And so Chris said done. Yes. And that's pretty much written in the stars.
I love that. And you know what I've noticed as well is that the more you let them land, it's like they're yours then, and then you can return to them again and again. But if you don't almost acknowledge them and let them soak into your system and really absorb them, because you miss it, and then they're gone, right? But when you can let them, just let them land and hold on to them, then they're yours.
Catalogue.
They're yours. They're yours now. You can put them into your Glimmer collection.
Yes.
And you can like keep thinking back to that moment now.
Oh, for sure.
Anytime, like, when you're feeling down or whatever, and you just like can think back to that day that you were in LA and you're at the Getty, and
I could draw you the colour palette right now. I can see it's burnt into my eyes.
Like, you can really start to dine out on them for a while, and that's where I think there's some power in them, not just in that experiencing that kind of moment of regulation or calm or joy or whatever it is for you, but that you can actually refer back to them at a later date as well.
Yes, and well, I think of it, Elliot, when we were standing at the Getty, we were staring across the Hollywood Hills, Beverly Hills, Hollywood Hills, and we think we might see from there, because we'd already stalked online Ricardo, think we saw his house. I know, right? So that's Formula One's another glimmer.
Yes, you did indeed.
That's a glamour, really, actually. Yeah, so that was kind of funny as well, because I was like, when I build my house and I'll be living obviously amongst, Formula One stars. And
in Monaco.
Yeah, in Monaco, exactly.
Yep.
At the Getty in Monaco. Yep, just me and Toto and Zach Brown hanging out and stuff. And do you see it? I so see it. Princess Charlene.
Oh, for sure.
It's a gap of a time.
I can't wait to come back to this episode when you're there.
Oh, and speaking of...
As a wayfinding tool, it's also like a futuristic clairvoyant ball.
Yes. It's like a drive-through and you give your order. But speaking of people and glimmers, this is such a tangent. But funny, speaking of Monaco, part of why I went to America is I went on a retreat in Phoenix, Arizona, and there were two hosts, executive coach called Elizabeth Pearson and a reality TV star, Caroline Stanbury. Fast forward, Monaco Grand Prix was on the weekend. I see on her Insta, and Elliot, this will make more sense, I think, to you, but you will definitely viscerally feel it. She's in Monaco. Monaco is my, if the octopus is my spirit animal, then Monaco is my spiritual home.
Again, I can see that.
Yeah. She's there for the Grand Prix. She's being driven around in a Fiat 600 Jolie.
I'm not a car person. I don't know what that means. So talk me through it.
So, Fiat 500, little cute patootie. The Fiat 600 Jolie. So the Fiat 600 is 500cc is the Fiat 500, very small engine, similar size to a washing machine engine. 600's that much bigger. But still a tiny little car as well. The Jolie is a convertible with a canvas roof. Some of them were released with wicker basket seats. And why were they made? Because they were small enough to drive onto your yacht and then get to the next port, and then you could take it for a spin around Saint-Tropez, Cannes, Monaco. So I think from memory she's being driven around. I think it's a reproduction one. I don't think it's original. It doesn't matter either way. So this woman who I meet 2 or 3 weeks earlier is in Monaco for the Formula One, driving around in a Fiat Jolie. Like, this is one of my dream cars in my top 10. I know. I'm like, God damn it. And in the words of you, she has crawled into my dreams and stolen them. I just shut the Vanity Fair, which is another youism as well.
Got it.
I was like, that's it.
Can't deal with this anymore.
Yeah, goodbye. Like, but that's that is glimmerific.
Oh, absolutely.
That is like an orgy of glimmers.
Here we go.
Like orgy.
I think we've touched on this before. Okay.
Got me.
All right. So mine are nowhere near as glamorous.
I know, mine are very over the top. I'm very sensational.
No, but I love it. But then mine are a bit more humdrum. But, guess, well, you were overseas in America. I was at home. So
one person's big deal is another person's yawn. So.
No. Just a different places and stages, I think. So I had,
Secretly, also, that's not true, because it might not be a glimmer, but yesterday you were being interviewed on ABC Radio.
Which was quite triggering for me.
Because your article had just been published in the Sydney Morning Herald.
My nervous system was through the roof. Yeah. My anxiety was through the roof. But yeah, I mean, it's a good thing, but it was very scary. Pushed me out of my comfort zone quite a lot.
Oh, God, yeah.
But anyway.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Good brutal.
Yeah, yeah. So when was it? I think it was last. Oh, speaking of this article, I was on deadline for it last Friday. I had a really stressful day because I'm trying to get the article finished. Then we're having a lot of house things come up as well, like the tiles are also out of stock and we're trying to like work out what tiles we're going to put in there. And then what else was going on? I think it was my son's birthday the next day. So it's like, again, like Christmas, I take birthdays seriously. And I'm like, I felt like I hadn't, usually I'm really on the front foot with this and I felt really behind. And I'm like, oh my God, it's tomorrow. I still had to I still had to get presents and wrap everything up and all that jazz. And then on top of that, it was also like crazy hair and sock day at school. And so we had this
hair and sock day. What kind of torture devices are these days?
It was a fundraiser for like this performance that they were doing, and it's all fine, but it's just another thing to do and organize.
That's hard.
I actually went like the super easy way, and I just got some wigs for the kids. I'm like, I can't deal with doing the actual like hairstyles and the hairspray and all that jazz. Anyway. Suffice to say, I had this day, it was just go, go, go. I had to like record some stuff for the podcast as well. And, we were back and forth on email, and then I'm like doing this, finalizing this article, talking to my husband about this, that, and the other with the house, birthday, it's all happening. And at the end of the day, I had gotten myself so wound up. Like I could just feel I was so far into that sympathetic state. And I kind of was conscious enough to think like, how am I going to get out of this? Like I have to go to sleep at some point tonight.
Yes.
My son's birthday tomorrow. We're going to be up early. How am I going to get myself out of this before bed? So what I did was I had some food to start with. I had dinner, and because when I'm in that state, I find like I don't want to eat. I'm like, too stressed to eat. So then which is also probably adding to the anxiety and the stress state and all that jazz. So I had dinner, actually had a gin and tonic as well. I watched an episode of Hacks because it's just
Hacks.
like fun and funny. And then I started, after the kids went to bed, I like made sure I did some stretching because I'm like, I got to get in my body and I've got to move around. I've got to move
great at that.
Something around in my body. So it was like I did this moving meditation that I've learned from my amazing yoga teacher. So it was like, moving the energy around and stuff, which was amazing. And then after that, I did one of those. I put my feet up on the couch, like, the astronaut position where you're like laying flat on your back and then you put your legs up over the couch. And I did all that. And afterwards, I actually could feel myself, like I had done it. Like I had brought myself out of stress response. I could tell, like I feel it in my body. Like the calm came over me. And I was like, it was just that relief, like when it's finally dropped back into that parasympathetic or, ventral vagal energy. So I was like, I'm just going to like lay here for a little bit longer and just really absorb it. Because first of all, it's like, and there was a bit of pride in actually getting myself out of that, go state and like dropping back into my body. So there was a glimmer in just it happening. But then I was like, can I hold on to this for a little bit longer and remind my body what this feels like? Because I think we've talked about this before, how we're so used to being in these states of anxiety and stress that becomes almost more familiar than being calm and regulated. So I was like, I wanted to really absorb that. And so I did. And it was just, I think it was nice to know that there are, like I have tools for me that can work, that can bring me back down to that state. And it's not to say like when I got into bed, I still like took me ages to go to sleep. It's not like, again, it cured everything, but there was definitely a moment of relief and respite from the anxiety and the stress. And I think that was because I managed to let the glimmer land.
Yeah, you did. And I think that's a good cue as well, is that when I can't let it land, it's because I'm too tightly wound.
Then that stress response.
Yeah, and I've been living there, I reckon, for somewhere between the past 6 months to 47 years.
Yeah.
Being really tightly wound, especially, with like we're both in the same boat with the renovations and stuff. And it's really stressful. And then being away for a few weeks.
Oh my God, that's stressful. I mean, traveling is stressful.
Yeah, really stressful. But it was kind of, it was the only antidote in hindsight because I was so tightly wound that it was, one of the calls at the 4 a.m. US time. So it's 10 o'clock in the morning, something here. And I ring Chris and Isla and, I'm like, I think I should go home. And Chris, who's a man of not that many words, was like knew at that point that I was waving the distress flag. And he said, no, you need to be there. This is a circuit breaker.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and it really landed.
Yeah.
And I was like, and so I needed, sometimes for me, like I can get myself so wound up and so tightly wound that I have to zig, like I have to pendulum swing equally as nuts the other way.
The other way, yeah.
Well, or maybe I've talked myself into it. I don't know, but certainly a very expensive retreat in the desert in Phoenix
did the job.
Really double bounced myself.
I love it. That's how you do it.
Mischief managed.
That's also one way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. But I like your idea better. That's much more accessible. I'm going to try that. And that gives me hope.
Eat the raw.
Whatever comes first.
I might try your approach next time. See how that works.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, you've given me hope. Like, thank you. That is such a game changer. And that's what it reminded me as well. Let's let a little bit of air out of the tires.
Yeah, exactly.
As we go.
Totally. I think that's been like, the whole point of this in a lot of ways is that it doesn't always have to be the retreat in Arizona. It can also just be like a little simple thing. But if you can, I think just acknowledging it, savoring it, holding it onto it a bit longer, letting it land is where the kind of
maintenance,
real sort of as you said, hopefulness and just some real reprieve in some of those everyday stressful moments. I actually recorded a couple in real time as well.
Brilliant.
It's a bit weird, but anyway,
that's great.
Because I just thought basically because I just didn't want to write it down because I had other things to do, and I thought it would be faster to just record it. So let me give you one. Oops.
So it's Tuesday morning, just after 9 o'clock, and I have just dropped the kids at school and I have just picked up a coffee for myself. It was a pretty hectic morning. My husband was away, so it was me solo with the three, and everyone was very slow moving this morning, not a lot of cooperation, a lot of sleepy heads not wanting to do the things that they needed to do. So a little bit of tension in the house this morning. But I'm just letting one of my known recurring glimmers land, which is that moment after I have got all the children to school and I've picked myself up a coffee and I'm just sitting down at my desk now to just get on with my day. But there is this beautiful moment when all the kids are gone and I have got a moment to myself where I can think about, what my day will look like. And I can just feel the relief wash over my system. And so I'm just really trying to let that land and absorb it and just hang on to that glimmer for just a little bit longer to really soak it in. And it's nice. It's nice. I could easily just keep rushing through the, myriad of things on my to-do list, but just giving myself a couple of seconds to just enjoy this little moment where I have a little bit of breathing room, a little bit of space, and
it cut off abruptly.
Space kicked in.
Yeah, so that's that.
That's beautiful. I know that feeling, and that's as you're playing that, I realized it feeds into the bigger thing, which is, there's the unfurling, activating the parasympathetic nervous system or parasympathetic nervous system, the vagus nerve.
Sympathetic nervous system is a stress response.
Yeah, so parasympathetic, rest and digest.
Yeah, or ventral vagal as polyvagal theory terms. Yeah.
Is when you are tightly wound and you're stressed out, the glimmer's harder to land. Plus, it affects your lens with how you see everything, which squishes out, in this instance for me, squishes out hope.
Yeah.
Equally, the opposite is true, as in when you relax, you aren't holding the soap as tightly, and then you get a different lens and you can look at things, same things, but reframed.
Yes, which is powerful, really powerful, I think, in terms of mental health, because when you're in that negative bias, all you're seeing, and like, for example, when you're running late and then you like hook your bag on the door handle, and, it's like all those things, then you trip over a chair and, it's just all happening because you're so stressed out, you're so wound up, and
you're like, that'd be right.
Of course, that would happen today. Oh, I'm having the worst day.
Yeah.
But
and then you insure it.
Yeah, and then you kind of feed that into that. But yeah, I guess if you can reframe it when you are in that.
Yeah, it's like in the rope, and then you can reframe. You can helicopter up as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite powerful. I think that the more this goes on, the more I'm like, this, it really can change your system and change your way you're looking at the world.
Yeah, and it's sneaky because it's only small and tiny. It's not like
so easy in some ways, so hard in some ways.
It's hard because you have to believe.
Yes,
and it's it seems too small. That's so small it's insignificant.
Yes, yes.
It's like diet and exercise. You're like, this is not going to work.
I know, but again, it's like because we want to overcomplicate it. We want to believe it's harder than it is. We want to believe we have to pay someone to solve this problem for us. But a lot of it just comes back to, there are, and I guess this is some of the hopefulness as well. There are these like simple, accessible things for us to do on a daily basis. Like another one of mine was, because the weather's just started to change, it's starting to get colder. And the other day I was in the house and I was just really cold. And when you just don't even realize that you kind of like your shoulders are up, you're like tensed up because of like you're feeling cold. And so I just had this moment where I was like, I can put some socks on and a jumper on. And that feeling after you do that, you're like, oh. And again, because I was like trying to let it land, I really was like, it's so nice to put socks and a jumper on when you're cold. And I just got this little moment of joy in like a very mundane situation.
Yeah, I know, especially with that, the rental we're living in has no AC, no ceiling fans.
Went through Sydney summer.
And no flat screen. So what a hot box.
Yep.
And we've been sleeping with just a sheet for like 6 months. And because there's, even a sheet you can barely sleep because it's so hot.
Yeah.
And then within 3 seconds, we missed autumn and it's gone straight to winter and it feels cold and the doona is back out.
Oh, isn't it so nice to be under a blanket, the weight of the blanket?
The weight of the blanket. Oh my goodness.
There's a reason those weighted blankets are a thing.
Yeah. And I'm just, and I'm grateful for any blanket now. Just the fact that it's so much colder, it's, giving me joy.
Nice.
I didn't think I'd be able to sleep without a doona on, but so now we're back with the doona. Like I'm sleeping again. It's so lovely.
That's so nice. Nice. Well, if you have any, guaranteed glimmers that you know about, that you want to share with us, that you've let land a little bit longer lately, let us know. We'd love to hear about it.
Wonderful. So tag us, DM us, send a video, send a note, whatever suits. Equally, if you wanted to subscribe to our podcast, we'd be grateful to have you and feel free to leave a review.
Okay, until next time.
Bye.